I'm Miriam Joy and welcome to my studio. Today I wanted to show you how to make a 4th of July banner. You could use it for Memorial Day, Flag Day. We've got all of those coming up. And one of the cheapest ways to do it is with a 99-cent handkerchief. And my 8-foot banner, if it's not 9-foot, is all done with just one handkerchief. I picked these up from Walmart. They've all got all kinds of neat designs, and we're going to show you how we did that. I'm going to start with my rope, and you can use whatever type of rope you have. You can use jute, recycled, anything that you have that's inexpensive, that's fine. If you don't have any, one of the cheapest things to buy is a clothesline. And if you go back into the home part of your store where the ironing boards and irons and stuff like that, you will find clothesline. And that's what I used for this project. I liked the white with this, but on a different style, it might look better with the rope. So any of those is good. The first thing you want to do when you're getting ready to do is make the ends, and your ends you want long. They should be long enough that you can tie them if you need to put them up. Don't have them so short that you forget that part. So that's real important. And then from there, I'm going to measure from flag to flag is just about a foot. If you didn't want to put decorations in between them, I still wouldn't probably put them much closer than that. I think that's around 4 inches. So that's up to you. But just start measuring those out, and I need 8 of those. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. That's where that flag is going to start, and where it stops, right about there. And then you want to make that end match the other end. So we're going to do however long from our first one to our last one and cut it right there. So we've cut that all off. So I've measured off of this side, so I want to stick with that side when I get started. But we're going to show you how to do the handkerchief. And the first thing I did when I got started is I went and ironed it really nice and clean. And first time I did these, I took this edge and cut it off. And you can, if you want to, that's totally up to you. Or if you like the design like here of it, it's really kind of nice. I've got one edge that's a little bit smaller, but that's okay. It all kind of comes out in the long run. But the one thing I am going to do is remove the sewn edge because one edge won't be sewn. With the first one I did it with the pinking shears, and you can do that if you like, but I'm just going to remove the edge, the sewn edge, all the way around my handkerchief, and then we'll start from there. Now that we've gone all the way around our edges, we're going to fold this in half, and you're going to notice that it's not quite as even as you would want it to be. It would be nicer, and if you wanted to trim it more even, then you can. But this is not supposed to be a hard project. This is supposed to be a fun project, and we're just going to work with what we've got. And the first one I didn't pin it, so you can pin it if it's easier for you. If it's not easier for you, don't do that. Just do whatever you really think is easier. I'm going to do one at both ends and probably one in the middle. If you need 2 in the middle, that's fine to help you kind of hold that. I think I should have done my middle before I did my ends, because my ends are not matching up down there. That might be something you're looking at when you're purchasing them, because some of them are better than others, and this one was not one of the better ones. I've definitely got a short edge here. So now that we've got that, And we're just going to take our material scissors and we're going to just cut this in half. And I'm just pulling it and just trying to keep that as even as I can all the way across. And once we've cut that, we're going to lay it down and do it again. Just match up to the majority of it. If you have a long side hanging out, just let it hang all the way out. Sounds like something from a movie, doesn't it? And then we're going to cut it again. So right now we have 4 squares. Okay, and then I don't do all of mine together at the same time. I do mine individually, and if you want to do them all at the same time and you're that brave, go ahead. But what I do is I take one at a time now, and I fold it over so it makes a triangle. And if you had a certain design that you want it to be the same every time, make sure you're folding this side or working off of this side. So you kind of have to decide which one you would like to do and work it from there. So I'm going to pin this one more time. And I'm going to make sure I'm on the edge of this guy, right in the center of that. And we're going to come all the way up. I'm not worried about my top being as perfect. And the first one I did, to get me a pattern, I kind of turned it over again and cut this straight, but it's going to be high. There's probably a better way of doing it. I'm not really a seamstress. And then what I did was I folded this top part down till it was straight across on either side. And I'm just going to put that pin back in and take that sliver off. And then we have our banner. Now, if you wanted to do it a little bit different, you could even do it and make 16 little of these guys by doing it in half first. And to cheat, I made me a piece of paper that was almost identical to my pattern from there. And then I went ahead and I cut all of the rest of them. So I ended up with a total of 16. Now see, on this guy, I didn't have the stripe, so I want to make sure I do it this side with the stripe. So on each of them, I'm going to have a stripe down on the side and one not on the side. So every other one will look like that. I'm going to go ahead and cut these, and then we'll get on our next step. On the square, I wanted to explain how I ended up with one not striped and one striped. So if you wanted both of them striped, you would fold it over where the stripes are touching and do that side. If you wanted them where either one had no stripe, you would fold it over and cut it from there. Because I did one of each, we're going to fold it so I have one without a stripe and the other with a stripe. And I am going to take it, and I'm also going to look like this guy's stripe isn't as good, so I am going to get rid of that side. Alright, we should have 8 of our little banners now. When you're making those two, the one thing you want to do is just make sure that when you fold them, that is right in the middle and they're not real cattywonk. That's too bad. But we're going to be hanging them so they don't have to be perfect. I also made sure that the stripe that had the writing was the one that was going to get left off. You're going to have 8 of these little strips, and after we're done with our instructions, I will show you how to make a star out of these. So that's kind of, you have the banner plus a star. So that's kind of fun. So I've lined these up so that everyone is facing the same direction, and my strip is every other one, and it's all on this side, not half this way and half that way. And I took some silk ribbon, and you could use whatever type of ribbon you wanted. This is 3/8, and it took about 1.5 yards at 2-inch sections. And I simply just took that, and I wanted to put it around my rope first, but I wanted to also glue it onto my rope so that it will hang straight and not move around. So I'm going to do a dab of hot glue there, and then I'm going to glue that around the rope and glue there. And then we're going to glue it onto our flag. Now you want to make sure that you keep these as straight up and down as you can. I'm just going to put a tab onto my hot glue on and put that onto the top of my banner so that it hangs nice and straight. Now you may have to play with your rope. You may need to wet it down a little bit and dry it off as well. So we're going to do 3 loops, and I've tried a bunch of different ways to hang these, and this worked out the best that I could figure out. I'm going to do right in the middle here of our flag. Fold that in half and glue it together, because this allows it to hang as straight as you can, but you need to keep your rope as straight as possible. And if you don't glue it onto your rope, then your flag ends up kind of gathering up in one spot. I did stiffen it a little bit. I had some stiffener. There's Mod Podge stiffener or a lean stiffener. You could also try starch or sugar water if you wanted to. And I did that after I had it completely done, but you could do it before on your flag. After you've ironed it, you could stiffen it then before you cut it if you wanted to do it that way. So whatever you kind of think works best for you. Everybody's got an idea of what they like or what works well for them, but I had kind of growing pains with this project, let's say. I tried gluing the fabric directly around and kind of wrapping it, and you can do it, but it doesn't hang real neat. And this way it hangs a lot neater, and by wrapping it, I mean just gluing it directly onto there. Now, if you could just do one side and just glue it directly like that, and your rope doesn't turn on you, then that's fine too. So kind of play with it, decide what works well for you. And so see, now we've marked our next spot. So I'm going to start that there and glue my flag with its hangers on there. And make sure when you're using the ribbon, the satin ribbon, that it is on the outside of the ribbon so that you're not putting the pretty side in. You want to keep the satin side out. So we're going to go ahead and put the rest of these on, and then we're going to talk about putting something in the middle if you want. So after you've done your banner, if you want to decorate in between, which I really think adds a lot to it, you can use just the star garland if you wanted to. Kind of makes it look like fireworks. There's some different types. There's some bigger stars and different things that you could simply put on those, and those you can find at the dollar store. So it's simply up to you what you wanted to add. I liked the tube mesh tubing, and I did 6 inches. Now this guy is a little bit smaller, ended up being a little bit smaller in between, so I think I'm even going to go with 4 inches on this, and I'm only doing 2 of the larger mesh tubings of each color, the red, white, and blue. Now Walmart is starting to carry this, and I want to say it's right around $2. It may be almost $3, and they usually have a couple of packages, so our colors in the package, about 3 colors, so maybe you could find the red, white, and blue, but I always pick mine up after a holiday. I got this at Christmas time when it goes on clearance and it gets up to 80 and 90%. They usually seem to have a bunch of this stuff left. So we're going to kind of alternate our colors and just put them all together. And I am going to take a piece of my star garland and tie this around, just wrap this around to secure it on, and also just to kind of give it that 4th of July feel. And you may not even want any of this on. You may like just the banner, just by itself. And go ahead and do that in between each one. You can also do it at the edges if you like, but go ahead and finish that up, and that'll really start to brighten as we go. And I'm going to show you how to put the star together. Let me grab my things and we'll get that going. I wanted to show you that star real quick, and this is a little bit not quite as even as it should be, but these are just all the 5 little pieces. I put the first 2 pieces directly across from each other, and the star hanging out the top. So that's, once you got that down, the rest of the part is easier. You kind of just adjust these 2 tails. In the meantime, just keep that pointed in. And you could Mod Podge this on a piece of cardboard or something like that, and then hang it somewhere to go along with your garland. There's a lot of fun things, but that's just another thing that you can do, all from that one handkerchief. Another thing you could do is, if you like the tails and wanted just to make little tiny pieces in between, you could do that as well, or instead of the little firework kind of area. So there's a whole bunch of ways that you could do this just with that little piece of material. Another thought is, go to your 99-cent store, pick up some of the plaques, hang those in between or in the middle of your banner to give it that extra sparkle. You could also zigzag around your bandanas if you wanted to have them for several years to come and we're not worried about it doing it so fast. So I really hope you enjoyed that. I'd love to see what you come up with. I hope you take them and put them up at your 4th of July parties, and give us a thumbs up. Please share our videos so we can continue to bringing you more of these great videos. Visit us at miriamjoy.com. God bless.